Okay, so I'm going to try and record for this class today because I need to try and get this done and over with. Okay, so for this right here, we are on page 93, so hashtag 93. Today's date is 12/9/2019. So I'm hoping you guys actually started these problems in the first 5 minutes, hopefully. All right, so find out the value of these expressions mentally. So what do we come up with the first one? 0. Very good. Second one? 0. Third one? And last one? It's not 0. 32? So let me see. 3, 7, 15, 31, 63, where am I at? 63 minus that, 30.
All those add up to 31. So
Oh, all these over here on this side add up to 31? Actually, you're right. Look. Those cancel, those cancel, those cancel, those cancel, those cancel. The only thing that doesn't is that thing in the middle, right? So you have a positive and negative for everything, right? Except for that middle number, which is 32. All right, very good. All right, so adding complex numbers. So now we're going to do this like it's a map. Okay, so this diagram represents 2 plus 3i. So you guys remember from last week, this direction, the x direction is my real. The up and down is my imaginary direction. So 2 plus 3i. 2 plus 3i, that means 2 to the right, and then 3, there you go, 2 to the right, 3 up. Puts me this point right there. And then the next thing, I'm adding this right here. So this minus 8, what does that mean? Left how many?
8.
So from this point right here, we're going left 8. So we're going left 8, and then minus 8i means I'm going down 8. Very good. So down 8 puts me at this point right here. So that's the reason why I was actually saying it like that when we were going over this on Friday. Okay, so from there it says, how do you see this represented? Okay, it's 2 to the right and 3 up. How do you see this represented? So 8 to the left. And,
8 down.
yep, very good. 8 down. Okay, so now, what does this new complex number represent? So what is the real part of the new number right here? What is the real part? Left and right. Huh? Very good. So it's -6, and then it's down, right? It's down how much? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So down 5. How do I represent down 5?
-5.
Very good. Minus 5i. So now, if we do this, this is called adding like terms or combining like terms. It's the same thing that we just did, but instead of doing it on a graph, we're now just going to do it with the real part and then the imaginary part. What is 2 minus 8? -6. And let's do the imaginary part. So the imaginary part is 3i and -8i. There you go. That's doing it using like terms. Says, write these sums and differences in the form of a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers. Okay, so now, so we could check our work by doing a diagram. So, so we're going to use the diagram on the other side to redo these ones right here, so you don't need to do another graph. So let's see. So what's the real going to be? Positive 1, right? Positive 1. And what's the imaginary? Minus 3i. Okay. So now let's do a diagram on it. So we're going back over to this. So we're going to use this, right? So it said, what was my first number?
1.
No. Negative 3 plus 2i. Okay, negative 3. So that means left 3, right? And up how many? 2? All right, so now we did that one. The next one says 4 minus 5i. Okay, so now 4, which way do I go for the 4? Right 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, and it says minus 5i, so it goes down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's my little a. So it is right 1 and down 1, 2, 3. Right 1, down 3. Okay, so let's do this one. Right here, we're not going to do this one on the diagram. We're going to do this one on the diagram here in a moment. Okay, so what is my real going to be? Negative 26. So negative 26. And then, what's my imaginary part? 36. Positive or negative? Positive, positive. Look, this is a negative here, but the positive is bigger, isn't it? So it's positive 36i. Now, do you guys see why I don't want to actually put this on the graph? Yeah, it's going to be a huge graph, right? Now, this next one is tricky. The reason why I say this one's tricky is because there is a minus sign in front of parentheses. Do you guys recall, if there's a minus sign in front of parentheses, what do I have to do with it? Change the sign. I have to distribute, right? I have to distribute it. So, negative 3 plus 2i, so I'm bringing this down. I'm distributing it so that 4 becomes negative. And the negative 5 becomes positive 5i. So now I could actually do it on my graph. Now I could do this one on the graph, right? But first, let's actually do the math. What's my real? Negative 7. And what's my imaginary? Plus 7i. All right, so let's see. It says negative 3 plus 2i. Let's go back over here. Negative 3, so that's left 3. 1, 2, 3, and it says up 2. Yes? Okay. So it puts us back at this point right here. And then from there, what did it say? Minus 4 plus 5, right? Minus 4, so that means I'm going to the left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And up what? 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. All right, let's see. That's negative 7 and then up 7. And that's going to be little c. There we go. So you can check your work on all these by, doing the directions on your graph. But some of them were a little bit too big to do on your graph. So that's the reason why we were going to do those ones. Okay, so this one right here. There's a minus sign in front, so that means I have to distribute. So it's going to be negative 37 minus 45i. And as I distribute, that becomes 11. Very good. Negative 11 and negative 81i. Very good. So my real direction is going to be how much?
Negative
48. Very good. My imaginary direction, 126. So negative 126i. Yeah, I don't want to try and build a graph for that one. Doesn't look very fun. Okay, draw points to represent 2, 2 squared, 2 cubed, 2 to the 4th on the real number line. Okay, where's 2? What's 2 squared? 2 cubed? 2 to the 4th? There we go. Now, so this one, it says write this, and this in the form of a plus bi. So a is my real, bi is my imaginary. So for this one right here, what's the real portion of this? Nope. We had a problem just like this on the notes on Friday. What's the real? No. No. Is there a real part? Is there a real number there? If there's not a real number, is there a real number to represent, not a real number? There is a real number to represent, not a number. 1? No. How about 0? Do I have 0 real? Yes. So that's super important to remember that. If you only have this piece right here, the real part's going to be 0 plus 2i. Now, for this one right here, okay, what is 2 squared? 4. That piece is 4, right? So it's 4, and then it's going to be I squared, right? Because I'm squaring the 2, and I have to also square the I. But what do we say I is? Square root of negative 1? So square root of negative 1 squared. Yes? Isn't that I? That represents I, right? Okay, but what happens when I square a square root? It cancels it out, right? It will cancel out the radical. The square root and the square will cancel. So what would be left after I cancel those? Negative 1. Very good. So it would be negative 1. So when I have I squared, it gives me negative 1. Okay? So I squared is negative 1. So I'm going to write that as 4 times negative 1. Right? So this is going to be 4 times negative 1, which is negative 4. So this one right here just gives me negative 4. Now the next one says 2 to the third, right? 2i to the third power. We know that 2 to the third power is 8. So it's 8, and then it's going to be I to the third. So we're going to break this up. What's I squared? Negative 1, right? So I'm going to rewrite this. So it's going to be square root of negative 1 squared times square root of -1. So just to help you guys out, watch this. I'll even do the first right there. So if you notice, it adds up to my 3 again, right? Okay, so what is square root of -1 to the first? It's not a trick question. What is square root of -1? Say I. I. All opposed? Oh, come on. All right. Square root of -1 is I, right? This is I. But what is this? -1. So together, this gives you -1 times I, which is -I. So that means that this is going to come out and give me, that's an 8 times -I, right? Which is -8I. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. The last one right here says 2I to the 4th power. So 2 to the 4th power was, what do we say 2 to the 4th is? 16. Very good. So it's going to be 16I to the 4th. So we're going to break this up into stuff that I know. So isn't this going to be squared, right? And isn't it going to be times another one? Squared. Also squared, right? Yes? This is to the 4th. This is my I to the 4th power. What did we say this one came out to be? -1. And so what is this one? So -1 times -1? +1. There we go. Just +1. I put a plus sign there just so I'm emphasizing the fact that it's going to be a positive. So that's going to be a +1. So my 16I to the 4th is just $16, right? All right, so let's rewrite these all in the A plus BI. So the first one, I already did the first one. The first one was 0 plus 2I. The second one, what's this one going to be? How would I write this in complex form? Is this real or not real? This is real, isn't it? So how would I write it? -4. Is there any complex part? Is there any imaginary part? How would I represent that there's no imaginary? +0. There we go. And this hopefully is going to help you with the directions also. All right, next one. What we got right here? Okay, so this one right here. So how would I write this in the complex form?
0 minus 8i.
Very good. 0 minus 8i. And my last one over here. 16. 0i. Very good. All right, so I'm going to put letters by these so we know where they go. So A, B, C, and D. So graphing this one on this, 0. So that means which way is 0? Left and right, isn't it? Left and right 0, so that means it has to go up 2. So up 2. 2. Put a little dot right there, and I'm going to call that one A. What What about B? I go left 4. 2, 3, 4. There we go, right there. And I put a little b there. What about C? Down 8. 8. There it is right there. Put a little C next to that. And then letter D. 16 to the... There you go. I'm going to call that one letter D. Super easy. Okay. All right, let's see. That leads us to our summary. This is actually referred to as the complex number. Complex number. Okay. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification button. Buy the merchandise. Go to the store.